Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about how I stay on top of life as someone with undiagnosed ADHD. I think I should address the undiagnosed part first. I feel like you only suffer so much before you start to look for answers, right? Growing up, I always had, teachers and people tell me that, oh, you're so brilliant, you're so smart, only like, but you are very distracted, you need to apply yourself more. And I always had issues with, tax initiation. I think that recently I was looking at all my old notes, and I realized that I've always had to-do list with the most basic things, brush your teeth and all that. So I know it might not be ADHD if I'm diagnosed properly. I probably might not be the ADHD, but this is the thing that fits more. So like understanding, that it might be this has helped me to incorporate things that make my life a little easier. So I feel like, if you live in a country where people with visible illnesses, like visible struggles, still struggle to have to be seen, to have proper care, how much more people with invisible struggles. So yeah, it's not easy for everyone to get diagnosed. So but the struggles I've had, and the mostly points to ADHD from what I've read. So this is how I cope with life as someone that's easily distracted, has tax initiation issues, executive dysfunction issues and all. So the first thing I'm going to say is that you should find yourself a community. It's not going to be easy for some of us to find community because of how we are wired, right? How we are easily overwhelmed and all. But I think that community helps a lot, and it doesn't have to be a physical one. It would be really great if it could be physical communities, but I found myself an online community of people who body double, right? They help each other to stay on task, so I found myself that, and it has helped me since joining the Discord app, the Discord group. I think since joining them, I have been more. I would not say I'm perfect right now, but there has been significant improvement in my in in my life, compared to before. So I every morning I go there and post my goals for the day, and and I look through other people's goals, and we encourage each other. So that helps me a lot to stay on task. The next thing I'm going to talk about is to have a process mindset. I am not the one who coined this term, but I saw it online, and I'm going to add their Instagram, whatever, their Instagram handle. I'm going to add it online. I'm going to add it on the video, so that anyone who needs help can visit their page. They are very, very insightful and give a lot of useful advice. So process mindset, I mean, it means being focused on the process rather than the goal. How I understand this is that I think that for people who have ADHD, the way we understand the world is that we have to break it into microscopic, atoms, right? We have to break it down into microscopic parts and then assemble it back, and that is the way we understand. That is the way I understand. If I cannot break things individually and understand their individual parts, it's very hard for me to it's very hard for me to conceptualize the whole idea. So even when I was in school, if I could not break down things, if I could not make it a story, if I could not make it into a game, it was very hard for me to grasp it. I had to, if I cannot break down things into like singular units and then assemble them back, that I cannot really understand things. So I need to understand how each individual part works. I think that also influences our, how our approach to tax, right? Because we break down, we see all the steps that, like right now, before I made this video, in my mind, I knew that there were so many steps that would happen before I sat down here. I'm always hyper aware of all the steps that I need to go through before I sit down here, even though this is not the most elite video, right? This is not the most professional video, but still it took me different steps before I got here. So process minded means do not think about the end goal per se, but think about the next possible step. So when I was lying down on my bed, I just thought to myself, okay, just go and apply your lip gloss. That's all you need to do. And then you do the next step while in the process. So that's what I did. Apply your lip gloss. Okay, draw in your eyebrows. All right, get your wig ready. So I do not sit down and think of the whole process and just overwhelm myself. I just thought about the next possible step. Put on your lip gloss. It's fun, right? It's fun to put on your lip gloss. Once you do the lip gloss thing, you are in the process. So once you are in the process, the goal is as well as accomplished. So I think you need to go and watch the creator's video to understand it more, because he really makes a good point. And I think I actually had his video playing in the background while I did my makeup, because I just needed, anytime I'm struggling, many times when I'm struggling, I like to go back to the video to watch it. It's really, really insightful. The process is the goal. So if you are in the process of the work, if you're in the process, you do not have time to think of all the multiple steps that you need to take. You are just in the process already. If your goal is one step out of the process and you're doing it, you're not thinking about all the different steps and being overwhelmed. So that is what I think helps. That helps a lot, right? Okay, the third thing I'm going to say is that you should placebo yourself. I think that we should placebo ourselves. What I like to do when I'm struggling to do something like make a video is how will I say, I've placeboed myself to believe that if I'm wearing a bracelet, right, I can do all things. This is a necklace that I'm wearing as a bracelet. But if you notice some of my videos, you'll notice that I'm wearing a bracelet, like another bracelet in some of them. Most of the times when I'm wearing that bracelet, I do not feel like making the video, but I have placeboed myself to believe that with this thing dangling on my hand, I can do anything. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is to bring conscious thoughts, like bring your subconscious fears into consciousness, right? Because many times the fear, the hindrance to making a video for me is the different steps that needs to happen before I get to this final place, right? It's the same thing for many other tasks, right? You think of all the different steps, and so at the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I cannot do this. But if you verbalize it, oh, I am afraid because the steps are so many, the steps seem so many, right? And I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I can do this. I have done it before. Sometimes I do the whole EFT tapping thing. I don't know if you know about it, but I think it's very popular now. If you do not, you should look it up. I just tap through the process, like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, and because there's so many steps to take, it's overwhelming right now to think of all the steps that I have to take before I get to my final position, blah, 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 blah. Then I go around again and do it and I go again, right, through the process and, speak positively to myself. So I have done this before, even though it's challenging. I have done this several times before. I can do it again, blah, 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 blah. So that verbalizing my subconscious fears, my subconscious thoughts, my subconscious programming helps me, because I feel like for the most part, for most of us, we are governed by subconscious beliefs and fears and all that, right? It's not until we bring them into light that we can navigate the challenges. I just feel like the analogy that I have about this is like, think of a puppet master, right? That is just controlling you, right? Controlling you behind the scenes. That is our subconscious belief. Many of us are governed by it. We do things, we act out without knowing, we are subconsciously aware, but without being consciously aware of how we are being, should I say, manipulated by our beliefs and fears. But when we verbalize it, it's like when you now bring this puppet master, right, into your line of sight, you know what the next move is about to make, so you can, I don't know, dodge, right? Or think of someone that wants to fight with you, right? If they're like fighting behind your back, right, or throwing punches behind your back, you might not know how to dodge. But if you turn to face them, I don't know if it makes sense. I have people, like, I've had someone tell me I have the worst analogies but I hope it makes sense, right? So picture this, like picture the subconscious as someone throwing punches behind your back, right? Without seeing them, you do not know how to dodge. But if you turn to face them, or if you bring them to face you, right, you know how they're going to act, how you can see their next step, and then move accordingly, like dodge it or something. So if we verbalize it out loud, our fears, we can now maybe, most likely, break the cycle. We can now break the hold it has on us. So many times when I'm able to verbalize my fears, right, concerning my tasks and my goals and whatever, I'm able to do it. Most times I'm able to break through the lethargy and do what needs to be done, right? Another thing I want to talk about is that this is tax, what they call it, tax, like transitioning between tasks. That's something that also affects me a lot. Like if I start this one task, like now this video, right, and I'm enjoying it, I've broken past. Right now you can tell that I have broken past the initial lethargy, and I enjoy what I'm doing right now, right? Now to transition to the next thing I need to do, like writing, right? It's going to be a bit hard for me because I already enjoyed this and I already know how hard it took me to get into the state, right? So it's a bit hard, right, for me to transition between tracks. So, but by verbalizing it, that, oh, you know, here's the issue right now. I am enjoying this, so I will most likely want to stay on this task for longer than is necessary because I have already broken past the initial lethargy, initial friction, whatever, right? And now I already can tell that getting into the flow state for the next task will be hard. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort. Oh my god, I just want to stay here. So verbalizing it helps me many times to break through the lethargy and to, you know, progress into the next task. So that is all I have for today. That is all I have for today. I hope it has been useful. I hope it is useful for you. And I would love to share more. If you found this helpful, please let me know. I would love to share more of my tips and tricks for staying on top of life. But that will be all for today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.